Alright, hi guys, how you doing? My name is Dan. I am an undergraduate student at DePaul University, graduating in 5 weeks actually. I will be graduating with a degree in Information Assurance and Security Engineering. And I'll be showing you how to do some basic configuration and connectivity for Cisco devices, such as their routers or firewall switches, things along those lines. They all use Cisco's iOS software. Their operating system is iOS, they refer to it as. So let's begin. First of all, I'm using Packet Tracer from Cisco. It's a simulator, an environment simulator, just like if you've done any research. There's another one called GNS3. This is pretty much the same thing. It doesn't have the in-depth commands that GNS3 does, but it really allows you to get the basics, or a really good basic understanding of like CCNA level or CCNA security level type of commands and configurations. It's free for Net Academy students, for Cisco's Net Academy. I was enrolled in a class at DePaul University that went hand in hand with Cisco's Net Academy, one of their classes, so I was able to get it for free. Should be able to find it online somewhere, but I'm not going to tell you how to do that. So first I'm going to start off with some basic connectivity and configuration for routers here. So we're going to pull one out here, and if you don't have Packet Tracer, I mean, it's not a big deal. If you connect in a lab environment, this is pretty much what you'll get. When you first connect to it and open up the command line, it's going to decompress the starting image. It goes fast on Packet Tracer just because how it is. So first thing you get with a blank slate of a router is if you want to configure, if you want to walk through the dialog to configuration, set no, who cares. So press return to get started, as you can see. So let's get going here. So this is your router mode. You can't do a whole lot from this area as far as configuration goes. If you ever want to see what kind of commands you can do from a specific mode, just hit question mark, and it's going to bring up all the different commands that you can perform. So not much can be done from just this router mode, just some testing, debugging. As you can see, ping, trace routes, really basic stuff. In order to do anything, you'll want to type enable. That gives you a little bit more things that you can configure. So this is after I hit question mark in the router enable mode. So you can see here there's a lot more that you can do. Again, trace route and different things. But to really get into the meat and potatoes here, what you want to do is configure terminal. So now we're in router config mode, which lets you do a whole lot. So hitting a question mark here shows all the different commands that you'll be able to do from this mode. So what we want to do now is enter in interface configuration mode, so we can configure a specific interface. So what I'm going to do is type interface, and we're going to do interface fast Ethernet 01. If you look at the physical routers, they're all labeled 00 and 01, just for the fast Ethernet or Ethernet connections, depending on what kind of router you have. So now you can see the command line has changed from router config to router config IF, which is interface. So question mark here, these are all the commands that we can run and configure for this terminal, for this interface rather. So what I want to do right now is assign an IP address. So if we type one IP address, then whatever address you want to configure it to, followed by the subnet mask. Now I've just assigned that address to that interface. It's not really up yet though, because each interface by default is shut down. So what we want to do is turn it on. So by hitting no shutdown, we have effectively turned on the interface. So as you can see, it says interface fast Ethernet 01. It's changed its state to up, so now it's operational. So if we do show run is probably, it's going to be your best friend if you're just learning this stuff, because it shows basically a really good overview of the whole system. I'm sorry, in interface mode you can't do just show run, you have to do show run. That's just how Cisco does it. But it's going to give you a basic overview. Right now I'm just going to skip down to here. We can see interface fast Ethernet 01, which is the one we configured, has this IP address, which is what we assigned it, and speed and duplex are set to auto. It's just defaults there. And you can see the interface fast Ethernet 00 has no IP address and it's in shutdown. So that interface is not functioning right now because we didn't configure it. So it's how it should be. So we continue on here. So we'll get out of this configuration mode just by hitting exit. We'll drop you back different modes, and I'm going to set up another router here. So and I'm going to connect the two. Oops. Get out of here. Ethernet 01, and we'll do 01 over here as well. Alright, so we are on the second router here. We don't want the configuration dialog. So really quickly, or first let me show you this. With Cisco's iOS software, you can basically abbreviate commands as long as it's the only command that starts with those letters. So for example, the command enable, I would just be able to hit enter and enable the terminal. But if we look at the commands in this mode, enable is the only one, or enable and exit are the only two that start with an E, and then enable is the only one that starts with EN. So if we shorten enable to just EN, the router realizes that enable is the command that I want to type, but I don't have to type the whole thing out. It'll just find the right command and finish it for me. So by hitting EN, it actually enables it. Now if I just hit E, it doesn't know. It says it's an ambiguous command since there's more than one that has an E. You do E and then question mark. That'll show you the devices or the commands that start with an E. So that's, if you see me abbreviating here, that's what's happening. Enable in conft is configure terminal, just like we did on the other one. So on this one we're going to go back into interface F01 and set an IP address on the same network. Okay. So now we have both of the routers going here, but they're not actually communicating yet because this second one we didn't turn on. So let's do no shutdown. Now it's up, and as you can see instantly, after it's changed its state to up, the line protocol changed its state to up as well on both routers. So what that means is they've realized that they're directly connected to each other and they have started communicating. So what we can do now is let's go back to just router mode, and we can actually do a ping from here, which is 1.3, to the other router's interface, which is 1.2. After the first time you got to give it a second, but after that you can see success rate 100%, and it gives you times for everything, of course. But now we can see that that basic connectivity is there. So that concludes my little tutorial here how to set up the IP address for a terminal or for an interface, and get some really basic connectivity going. What I want to do on the next one, on the next tutorial, is throw in another router here in this same environment, and we're going to set up a routing protocol so we can have all three of the routers communicating to each other. So look for that one, and I hope this one helped you out.